Cool.
If I can find it. Do you know what a K-bar is?
No.
It's a USMC fighting knife, or the Navy uses it for hand-to-hand combat.
Cool.
Have you heard of SOG?
Nope. It looks like kind of like a tomahawk or a hatchet.
It's a tomahawk, or you could use it as a hatchet, but the blade is like real thin. It's like a knife basically, but as a hatchet, it goes down into a point that up here is wider. So once you cut down into the wood, it splits it. That's basically how an axe works. Like you know the fundamentals of an axe, right?
I think so.
Okay. Because if you didn't know that, I'd be like, oh, okay. I wouldn't judge you in any kind of way.
Of course you would. We all judge each other. But hey, I got a thing for you to watch if you want. I'm gonna send it to you. You can watch it later or something. Here I went down to visit that knife guy, right?
Yeah.
And I think we already talked about this once, but I made a video just about the knife guy, so you can see his setup. And I think it's pretty cool. I would like to make a similar setup.
Yeah, like, was he using a full-on forge, like a circle, and then there should be a fan hooked up to it, like a circle, a fan that has a crank on it, a tube goes down into the middle of it, like probably about the hole's about that wide, like that setup.
Yeah.
Up on top, there's bars that are right here, goes up. I need some, like, all right, right here it is. Then there's bars that are going up right there and there. I think there are sometimes ones there, but not all the time. That there's a cover up here, then up on top is a circle where he lets the smoke go up. Is that basically how I described it? And is that basically his setup, how he has his?
I don't know all the details of his setup, but it sounds like what he's doing, because he's got the hand crank thingy, and then air goes down and it seems to come up through a thing. So it sounds like what you're talking about.
Yeah. Right there is a K-bar.
Okay, cool.
But even though China is making very crappy K-bars right now, as back in World War II, they didn't have a pin on the pommel of it on the bottom right there. They probably did, but they made it where you couldn't see it. But China, they're making the K-bars to have a pin in there. Once that pin comes out, the blade is no good. Like it's a full tang blade, but you can still shove it into a deer antler and use that. Or you can fasten it onto a stick to use it as a spear if you like. Yeah, I want to see if you can get me some obsidian.
I'm sorry?
Some obsidian, because you said, like, do you have big giant chunks about that big?
No, I don't have chunks that big. I got a whole bunch of chunks this big, which are useless. I got a few chunks that are this big, but I don't have any that are that big. And the thing is, what's weird is, like, there is a little tiny bit around here, but, like, I don't know where to find, like, big bunches of it, you know? Like, I would like to know that.
Do you just find them where you are? Like, you just look on the ground and say, oh, there's obsidian there. There's obsidian there.
No, I'm a weird guy, so people know I want weird things. And so what happens is there's a family down in town, and they know I like obsidian. And so I bought it from them, but I don't know where they found it. And then in a different town, there was a kid who knows I like it, and so he sold me some too.
International drug dealing? No, not really. No.
yeah, they're dealing. They're my obsidian dealers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, but I don't have a lot. And at this point, what I'll probably do is make some arrowheads out of them. But yeah, there's not a ton around here. I don't know Like I need a map of Mexico, like a mineral map that tells me where
Yeah.
there is more obsidian or something.
Yeah. Flint around here is kind of hard to find because you have to go into a field or there at Menards. I think it no Fleet. Yeah, Menards. You go there's P rock, gravel, regular rock. You know, like chunks about that big. You know, like I don't know what the classification of it is, but you take one of those bags, you open it, you have a whole bunch of flint in there that they don't even separate it, not one bit. But I just go in there, I look for it because the flint is not big enough for me to make things out of, but I can use steel and strike it and sparks will come off of it. And that's basically what I look for. But now if it's chunks about that big with a beveled edge, I can chip that, hopefully run a flake across it. Then I can start chipping that away.
Very cool.
Have you ever heard of a blowgun?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I made one, and I was using those kind of nails. You know, it stuck into the wood very, very. It didn't go deep, but it stuck in there good. But then I was like, you know what? I want to try to get something with it. My friend, here's the rabbit. Here's where he was standing. He hit it right under it. The dart went right under its feet. And it just scrunched up a little bit, and it just ran off because I went forward a smidge, and it saw me.
Yeah, I have a commercial blowgun, and it has extremely thin darts with the thing on the back to push it through, but they're amazingly thin. Now I don't know if those are better or worse or what. I barely have used them because I don't really hunt that much, you know. But they're interesting.
I have one somewhere around my room if I can find it. Because I know what you're talking about. It's like you can physically just bend it, basically. It's that thin.
Yeah, it's very thin. Exactly. Like a needle.
Yeah, like one day you can literally like shove it right through your hand, like right there, and it won't leave that big of a hole.
You could, but I probably won't. But you could, yeah.
But I was going to get this 6.65, I think, blowgun, which was, I think, a 50 cal. The darts were about that big, like, I don't know if it's like this, the diameter of this, or no, it's something like this, but a little bit smaller. For
a
the
lot
dart.
smaller. In my case, yeah. Now I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert on these things. It could be that the thicker thing could do better, but you only have so much velocity, right? So
Yeah.
you have a limited amount of ability to force it through. So I'm pretty sure lighter is better, but I don't know.
Yeah, there are people that take down rabbits with blowguns. This one guy took down a rattlesnake with those small thin ones. He took it down. And he said once, even though you cut the head off, the head can still bite you and can still kill you, even though it's not attached to the body.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a lot of experience with killing things, and stuff still keeps happening. We had a rabbit that we killed, and its heart was still beating like 10 minutes later. It was nuts. Very strange.
Yeah, my uncles, they went fishing and they caught fish. They froze. Then they warmed them up. They just hopped right out. They just jumped out. Their heart quit beating. Everything was stopped till they got unfroze, and then their heart was beating again.
Trippy. Well, you know, you can freeze scorpions, and they can come back to life and be fine. And there was something else you can do that too, but I forgot what it was.
Ants.
Ants?
Yeah,
really?
like put them in the fridge or freezer for a little bit to slow them down.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're cold, so they can't move that quick. So then it gives you time to transport them to this place to this place. Do you have any guns? that you use?
I can't comment on that.
No comment? All right. Do you chop wood, like split it all by hand?
Oh, yeah.
Or do you use a machine?
Yeah, I have an axe and a maul.
Ah. Do you have a hatchet?
Yep.
Do you have a lantern, like an oil lamp?
I do, but I don't use it. I prefer like LED rechargeable lamps.
Yeah.
Because they work.
I like doing it the old way.
I think that's great. All the old ways, some of them make sense now for us, and some of them don't, depending on how you live. But in any case, they're instructive. We learn from them. So somebody's got to do that shit, you know? Like, that's why I like talking to you, is because just like, you know, you sent me that video of the guy who built the hut and everything out of mud and sticks and everything. I mean, more people need to do that kind of stuff because we're forgetting really important knowledge. And not all of it is important to us right now. Some of it is, the word is anachronistic, right? Anachronistic, meaning it's not relevant right now. It's old, but a bunch of it will be relevant later. Like there might be a time when we want to know how to thatch a roof with grass again. Or, you know, even here, we live kind of in a strange place where a lot of these old skills are still relevant. Like people make buildings with mud here. Adobe, it's common. People still bake bricks here, you know, and it might be that we need to hunt with arrows, bow and arrows. And so a lot of these things that seem like they're not relevant now might be relevant later. And that's why I like how you're thinking. I like what you're doing.
Yeah. How I was making my torch, I would dip it in some gasoline or something like that. But the cloth, I wrapped it around tight where when things are tight, like if you roll this up tight and you light it, it will stay lit for a while because I don't know how. I know how to explain it, but it's kind of hard. But have you ever heard of a redwood, like those big giant trees?
Yeah, I camped out under them. It was magical. It was wonderful.
Yeah, like the bark itself is an inch thick, which you could have a lot of fire and the whole forest catches and the trees will still be fine. And the wood is hard to burn. If you were to burn it, you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. Learning about all the trees around you is pretty cool. Here where I'm at, I've got a pine, which I drink pine needle tea. You know, tea made of pine needles.
Is that?
And it has lots of vitamin C. And then I've got oak, which is cool because it has lots of tannins, and you can actually tan hides with it. And the next time that I have rabbits, I'm not currently raising rabbits, but next time I raise rabbits, I'm going to try tanning rabbit furs with the oaks.
Wait, do you have to get the sap from the oak, or do you have to char it, or how do you do it?
You don't. Well, it's still experimental for me, so anything I say, you know, you should take with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I know.
But in the past, I've used tannino, which is from a mimosa tree, and I buy that from elsewhere. So what I want to do instead is use what I have here, which is the oaks. We've soaked leaves in water and seen that it turns the water brown. And this is very tannin oriented then. And I don't want to strip I don't want to strip the bark off the tree because I don't want to kill the tree. And so the mimosa stuff I was buying before for tannins, they're stripping the bark off the tree and they're killing the tree to give me the tannins. I don't like that. So I want to use a local solution that I have available. And so we soaked the leaves to see what would happen. And we got this really brown liquid in there. And it tastes tannin-like. It tastes astringent. You know, it makes your tongue feel weird. And so the next time I raise rabbits, I'm going to put the furs in that with salt and see if I can tan them that way.
So oak is like a walnut.
I don't know. Walnuts also might have tannins, but you'd have to look that up on Google. I have no idea.
Yeah, because you get walnuts at a certain time, you put your hands in it, it's all black type stuff, and you can like literally squeeze it and just black just runs down.
It's totally possible that has lots of tannins. And then, of course, there's other ways of tanning furs. A lot of people like to mention brain tanning. You know, you take the brain of the animal and you tan the stuff. That seems like extra work for me. Plus, I like to keep the skulls the way they are because I do a thing, and you can look up rabbit skulls, Brian Fay, if you want. And I have a way of keeping them intact, and that way they're kind of cool. I don't want to break the skulls.
Yeah. I have a cow skull in my shed, and the jaw is both jaws are just dislocated right off of it, but it doesn't really matter because at first I thought it was a deer, but the head was way too big to be a deer. I was like, then my uncle said, "That's a cow." I was like, he's like, "Where did you find it?" I was like, "Oh, over there." Like, he's like, "Oh, Joe probably drug it over there or something like that." Because right in the middle of the head was a hole. Pretty sure it was a 22 that Joe just shot it right there. Don't know why, but I'm pretty sure he did. Or something probably burrowed and made a hole there. But no, it's cool looking at cow skull, how sometimes it right here has the cracks. You know, like you've seen in pictures how the drawings, I should say, how they have the cracks running along right there, alongside and up on top. Yeah. Where's that one guy that you guys talk for hours and hours on end?
Oh, he was passing through. People come visit me. They come here to learn about permaculture and stuff, whatever. And so he's now probably, I don't know, maybe Guatemala or somewhere. Not sure.
So did that guy go visit you?
Yeah. Yeah, people visit me all the time. They apply to visit, and then I decide if I'm in the mood to accept them or not.
Wow. You're like, should I accept you? No, get out. Is it like
Pretty
that?
much. Yep.
Books off. I'm falling. Oops. Shice. I gotta shut my door. Then shut away, but whatever. Have you ever used do you have willow trees by you?
I don't have one on the property right here, but down by the lake, there are willow trees.
Willow trees you can use for a painkiller. Like if you have a headache, you just take the bark, put it, like make a sack, basically, put the bark in it and have it in hot water and let it soak in there. Then you drink it. And then it like... I
didn't know that. That's cool.
Like kills... What?
I do know that you can use it as a rooting hormone, because one of the things we do here is we cut pieces off plants and then we put the piece of plant into dirt to make another plant. And if you use a willow, you can make a stuff to make it kind of increase its ability to make a root.
Yeah. Do you guys make wine? Or
I don't currently make wine. In the past, back in Seattle, I brewed a lot of beer, but here I don't have barley. So I'm very interested in mead, which I used to make in Seattle. And here people have bees, and I have bees here on the property. So mead is fermented honey, and that's a very ancient drink. It's a very exciting drink. And so for me, that's more interesting. But yeah, wine, I mean, fermenting anything I'm interested in. It's just a matter of what my best opportunities are, you know?
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of pheasant feathers that I don't even know what to do with. I could make earrings out of them, but I don't have the stuff to do that. I don't probably make a. No, I need to kill a whole bunch of pheasants to make a tribal thing. I don't even know what they use. The thing that they put on their head and then it goes drapes down. Sometimes it goes down to the ground, and there's feathers running along that, or something like that. Oh, I need to get a deer to see if I can tan the hide. Like in the winter, like it's the best time to kill a deer because then the fur stays on. As if you shoot it in the summer, the fur will just fall right off.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I figured it out quite easily. Did you know that? Do you know how to preserve a deer hide or any kind of hide?
Only rabbit furs. That's all I know about.
All right. All you have to do is just put it in whatchamacallit, salt. Put the whole hide, not the fur, like not the fur side, but the meaty part. Put a whole bunch of salt on it, stretched out. Then you let it sit there for a couple of weeks, if not a month. It depends of how slow or how dry you have it, like the area. In my shed, it's like drier than all can be. Yeah, my mom wants me to make hooks out of metal, like out of rebar that I have in the shed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I have to get a fire going. I have to do this, do that. I don't have a forge. Well, I managed to craft metal just with a fire that you have behind you. Like I shove it in the way bottom where there's the most heat. Because I have a pump, but I don't have a metal tube hooked up to it where I can put air into it to make it hot. And then I was going to get lump charcoal where I can craft the metal because charcoal can burn for a while. And then how high can charcoal get?
I'm not sure. I know that if you put a lot of air through it, then it's going to burn faster. And so it's largely a matter of how much air you can get through it to get it really hot. But I'm not sure what.
You could ask does your blacksmith, does he use coal? Like, I don't know what coal there is, but like, there's a certain coal that you use that you can put it on top of the fire. Let it get hot, but then it makes agates. Then those agates catch, and you can.
Yeah, he uses charcoal.
Okay, so he doesn't use ones they get from the ground.
No, he uses charcoal from wood. Yeah, I've given him bags of it before.
How much charcoal? Like, how do you make charcoal? Because
I have a lot of pictures on that, and I need to make a video about it. You make charcoal by taking a bunch of wood and mounding it up, and then you cover it in dirt, and then you light it on fire, but you keep the fire from actually burning. And it's kind of this balance thing where you keep it smoldering. So it just very slowly burns, and you poke holes in the dirt and let a little bit of smoke out, but not very much. And you have to check on it every single day a couple times. And that goes on for like 10, 12 days. And, I mean, I'm talking a big mound, like 2 meters high, big. And then at the end, you've burned it, you've smoldered it, and you end up with a bunch of charcoal.
What do you mean by 2 meters? Like, is that 1 foot?
Or 2 meters. 2 meters is about 7 feet. A meter is more or less 3 feet, about a yard. But a meter is a little bit bigger than a yard.
All right.
So a yard is 3 feet.
You're in a place where they use metric, where
yeah.
which I don't know much metric. I know the speed limit. Like you go to Canada and it says 50 miles or 100 RPMs, or not RPMs, but 100 kilometers, or I don't know how they say it, but it says 100. And so my teacher, he saw that it's like 100. He started gunning it, but then he's like, oh, that's 50 miles per hour. And
yeah, it's kilometers, and yeah. So yeah, if you're going 100 kilometers, you're not going as fast as that in miles.
No.
And metric is actually better than the English system. The English system is what's used in the United States and also in England, and almost nobody else in the entire world uses it. So in most cases, the metric system is better.
Yeah, because you use the metric system for science, like Kelvin. You never use Fahrenheit in science, never. Like you want to get, let's say, water to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which I don't know which that is in Kelvin, or I don't know if I'm using that in the right sentence, but you use Kelvin. That's all I know.
Well, the cool thing, I mean, whatever. I don't want to get judgmental on anything. English system works fine. I mean, it's fine, but metric is kind of cool. In metric, 0 is freezing, and 100 is boiling of water. Now that's at sea level, because if you go up in elevation, it changes. So it's different where I am. But so that's kind of convenient. I've made the switch to metric mostly. I still, of course, think like you do in the English system. So a good thing to remember is 20 degrees Celsius is a nice, comfortable temperature. That's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So that for me is like something good to know. So 20 degrees Celsius is a comfortable temperature. It's like 70 degrees, which is about what you would want your house to be maybe on a nice, comfortable day or something.
So, all right. So 70 is cold, and then 60 is warm, or is it the opposite?
Well, 70 Fahrenheit is comfortable. And
okay. So you're talking outside?
Well, right now, what's the temperature Fahrenheit where you're at?
Hold on. Probably 43.
That's pretty fucking cold.
Oh, it is. So I had a fire going, started pouring the gasoline on it just to get it bigger and bigger, which is dumb to do, but I did it, and I then was like, you know what, screw it.
No, I'm talking about where you're at right now in your bed, in your house.
Okay.
What's the temperature Fahrenheit?
Probably 60 or 70, something like that. I don't know. I don't go check it. But
it's not 40 something.
No, I thought you were talking about outside. I was like, oh,
okay, no, that's fine. Outside, that sounds cold. No, I was asking where you're at. Yeah. So if you're in the where I live inside, it's usually about 60 to 65 at night inside without any heating, which is pretty comfortable for me. It is getting a little colder now. But I guess in terms of learning Celsius, right? Because it is very useful to learn metric. Because metric is the standard worldwide.
Do you live by the mountains, or are you in the mountains right now?
I'm in the mountains.
Like, what's the elevation there? Like, when
I'm around about 7,000 feet.
Holy crap! I would be gasping for air.
It is true that if you walk really fast, you run out of air a little bit.
But then I'm looking at the farm, like, how is the fire still going? But there's enough oxygen, I guess, for it to.
It's no problem.
No, but you go, the higher you go, the colder it gets. The lower you go, the warmer it gets. Because
But also, the closer you go to the equator, the warmer it gets. So I'm at 19 degrees latitude, right? So I'm south of you.
Yeah.
You are at about, you'd have to check this. I don't know this, but you're probably around 46 degrees latitude. So you're north of me. And so it's going to be colder where you are because you're north, and it's going to be colder where I am because I'm high up. So we're sort of similar but different.
Yeah. Do you make bone meal? Like the animals that you kill, do you crush the bones up and put it, like, before I get to that, do you guys have gardens that you grow your own vegetables, corn, beets?
Yes.
Do you use bone meal, crushed up bones, mixing with other byproducts that is from nature, and just put it on there?
I do have a lot of gardens, and mainly the technique I use is called food forest farming, and you can look that up. It's kind of a subset of permaculture farming, using a lot of perennial plants and layering of plants and things. I'm not that into bone meal, mainly because I don't have big enough animals. In a sense, I do have bone meal because what I do is I go to town and I buy bones from the butcher, and they're very cheap because the butcher doesn't have a use for the bones. And then I give those to the dogs. The dogs love the bones. They chew all the fat and the meat off of them, and then they chew on the bones for fun. And then those bones all end up disappearing. So they all end up in the land somehow. They rot, they get chewed on, they get buried. And so very slowly I use bone meal. But no, I don't process bones to make bone meal.
So everything that you use is all you made it, except your clothes and other materials. Like most of the stuff that you make made by hand, like your house.
Well, it's always a tough challenge, and so the short answer is no. I don't make everything, but I'm always looking on how I can make more things. So, for example, how can I use waste better? If there's any waste available in the communities, how can I import it and use it better? If I do have waste here, how do I use that better?
So are you talking about...
But for example, I did not make the laptop that I'm talking to you on. I didn't make the webcam, and I'm not going to make that. And you're probably not going to make one either, is my guess. But it's just too tricky. I didn't make my shoes, but that would be cool, wouldn't it? Maybe I could use old tires, and I could learn how to make some sandals. That'd be cool. I can make cups and glasses out of old bottles. I have a cutter I made, so I can cut it and make old glasses. So I should never have to buy any more cups again. I didn't make my van, and let's see what else. I recycle a lot, so I'm always looking, and I'm writing that stuff up. I'll post links in the video about this.
You didn't make the...
I can make rabbit skin hats. I think I was wearing a rabbit skin hat the other day.
Yeah, I was like, what is that?
That was a rabbit fur hat. And that was made with rabbits that I raised here. And then I was able to tan the hides and just take 3 pieces and sew them together. Really easy. And boy, those are warm. We also made a rabbit skin jacket. I also want to make rabbit fur blankets. So the short answer is that no, I don't make everything. But I would like to kind of go down the list of everything I use and decide, okay, this thing I can make, that thing I can make, this thing I can get cheaper, this thing I can make out of recycled stuff. So it's tricky.
Do you know how to make an axe out of a rock?
We have done that, and they're not as good as a metal axe.
No,
but I can do it.
Something to get you by. If you wanted,
yeah,
go all
yeah,
and all that. Just make your own things. I don't see why not. The guy.
In any case, it's very useful in any case to learn how to do these things, even if it isn't actually economically efficient to do them. Because we talked about, for example, making arrowheads out of bottle bottoms of bottles. And is that efficient? Well, I mean, for me, I get my meat from rabbits, but if you were hunting, it could be efficient. It's tough. I mean, for example, here's a great example. Can you make a fire with sticks?
Eventually, yes, because you rub them together, then the shavings will come off, but then some of those shavings will catch. It takes, people say you can't rub two sticks together and make a fire. You can. It's simple. It's friction. You create enough friction, you will start to make, like, burn the stick with an air stick without no light.
Right. And so we've done that here, and it is not that easy. Of course, if you get good at it, it gets easier. Is that a priority for me? Not really. I use matches, you know. And so it's a question of what's efficient for you. The other day when you started your fire, you probably used matches or a lighter, and that's perfectly fine. What we got to do is pick and choose what things are efficient for us to start doing for ourselves. Food obviously is huge. Being able to produce is super cool, and that's awesome. And then producing your own clothing, making your own housing, these are really cool things to be able to do. But, you know, there's a million other things that we can work on, and some of them pencil out economically and in terms of time, et cetera, and energy, and some of them don't. So,
yeah. Will you be on tomorrow in the morning, like when it's daytime?
I don't know.
Okay. Because what time is it over there?
It's 8:29. I'm Central Time. I think you are too.
20:29.
Military time?
Yeah. So that's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah. You are. But then I think about it, I'm like, Central is like going about right there, but then you go down, it goes around the world, basically. It doesn't go this way, it goes that way. Because you go to the UK, they're 5 hours ahead.
So we're in more or less the same longitude. So I'm on Mexico City time, and so it's the same as you.
Oh, you're in Mexico City? Or you're in Mexico?
I'm in Mexico.
Okay.
One sec. My dogs are freaking out. Yeah, it's nothing.
What were they even barking at?
What's that?
What were they even barking at?
They're still barking. I have no idea. It could be a passing pack of dogs. It could be nothing. It could be, I don't know. Hey, you want to hear something terrible?
What?
The other day, I heard a big noise. My dog's, barking. And I got my machete because that's what I sometimes do when I go out to look at what the fuck's going on. And so I go over to a grove of, trees nearby, and my dogs have damaged heavily. Have been attacking a dog. It was probably part of the passing pack, because there's a pack that passes through pretty much every day. And I don't really like killing shit. So they injured this dog heavily, really heavily. And it was not going to live.
So they basically made the dog suffer at that time.
Yeah, yeah, and they were running around it and all that. And Papito Galileo is one of my favorite dogs. He's fairly new. He's got his own Facebook page and everything. Was just tearing the shit out of this dog. And I yelled at the other dogs, and they all backed off. Papito did not back off. He's a pit bull, which I don't want to be racist or anything about dogs, but he didn't back off at all. And so I went in there and grabbed him by the collar, which luckily he had one, and yanked him off and threw him off at the dog. And the dog was ripped up. You know, it couldn't walk. It tried to like stand up and then fall over and shit. And its skin was ripped open and everything. And so I was standing there, and this was a hard thing for me. I'm not a Marine, you know. I don't kill shit. I'm a pseudo hippie, man. I want peace in the world and shit. And so I'm looking at this dog laying there, ripped up, and I took Papito Galileo and I put him in a building. I locked him in there and came back. And this little dog, medium-sized dog, is going to die. No question about it. It's too injured, you know, to live. And if I leave and I let the dogs rip it up, it'll suffer for another 40 minutes to an hour while they murder it. And so I had to make a tough decision. Do I kill the dog to shorten its misery, essentially? So after thinking about it, I macheted the dog to death. I did not enjoy it.
No, I understand how some people, they're like, they can't take it. This one girl, she was probably about five yards away from an elk, like to my door right there. That's how close she was to the elk. It noticed her. It ran off. She shot it once, like she shot 4 times. But then she was crying because I don't know, it was something that she didn't want to kill it or something like that. Or, I don't know, but she was crying over it. I was like, I understand what she was going through. But to me, when I kill things, I kill them with pride. I don't kill them I don't regret killing it. I kill it because I want to eat it. I don't kill for fun. If I were to kill for fun, I would just say, here, take my guns. I don't want them.
Yeah. Well, good. I like your attitude because I think it's important. I mean, even though we are carnivores, we are complex animals, etc., I think it's important that we have respect for what we do and reverence in a way. Those are strange words for me to use, but you know, I want us to have empathy for all beings, really.
Yeah.
Now that's going to be tough for you, man. You're joining the Marines.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have some decisions to make.
But a tough thing is your drill sergeant or your platoon leader tells you, shoot this guy. You have a choice. You have a whole range of options. Leave him, shoot him, hesitate. They want you to just shoot the guy, but you'll be hesitant because it's like, it's a civilian. It doesn't look like he has nothing on him. But then you shoot him and you go up to him and he had like a bomb strapped to him, or he had something else that could have harmed a whole bunch of people. You take out one sniper, you save the life of 10 Marines. You take out a suicide bomber, you save the life of 10 Marines.
Well, there's also the very tricky decision of why are you in someone else's country with a gun?
Yeah, that we got into a war which we shouldn't have got into. Like the ISIS, Taliban, Al Qaeda, we shouldn't join their fight. We shouldn't have fought against them. We should have just left them alone because they'll figure it out on themselves, or they will just all die because they just don't know when to stop. It's about religion, basically. To me, just if you want them to convert religions, don't use guns on them. Just start talking to them in a nice way, I guess. I don't know. I never converted someone to be a Christian, but I don't know. It's dumb.
Well, also, I mean, this stuff goes back a long ways, and it isn't totally just religion. That's one aspect, but the conflicts around that area, the U.S. has been involved in for a long time, and you look at, for example, the Mujahideen were fighting the Russians when they were occupying Afghanistan. Do you know about that?
No.
It's a really good thing to read about historically. When I was your age, that was what was going on, is that the Russians were occupying Afghanistan, and the United States was supporting the Mujahideen, the people fighting the Russians, because we had a conflict with the Russians at the time. And there's actually a very long history of the United States funding various groups in the Middle East to fight other people. And even ISIS are using arms. Don't believe me. You need to check on shit like this. Don't trust people on the internet. But, the United States has created most of its enemies.
Yes, that is technically true because people in Minnesota, like, Minnesota, right?
Yes, I've heard of it.
All right.
Seen on the map.
Minnesota is, for what I'm hearing right now, is the number one producer of civilians joining the ISIS. Because there is, I believe, an ISIS training camp off the border of Mexico or somewhere along the border. That's all I know for right now. I could look it up and tell you, but I don't want to start talking politics because then I start politics, then you and I start arguing over it, then I'm like, I'm done, I'm leaving.
I like that. I think that makes sense. I would rather talk about more base ideals and things that we can have in common. Because I probably agree with you on this, that a lot of political conversations are at a level that we don't control anyway. So it's all pointless bullshit.
Yeah. It's, Mikhail, right? The guy that's from the Caribbean.
Mikhail from the Caribbean. I don't know that guy.
Profile picture is him with a fedora, but it's sideways and it's blue, He's black. No, I don't want to be racist, but he's black.
Well, it's okay to say someone's black and not be racist. Are you talking about a political guy or some guy on Blab?
No, he's a guy on Blab that you.
Oh, okay.
You start talking politics and he's like, just shut up. Like, he doesn't say that, but I understand what he means. He's like, don't go there. And he doesn't want to talk politics, but like you get him on going on soccer, he argues about it. He is not mad. It's just he wants to prove his point. Because I posted Confederate flag. The Confederate flag there, guys taking their pants here. This doesn't offend me, the Confederate flag, but this bullshit does. And the guys sagging their pants. And he got mad over that. He argued. He told me to not do that because he knows the history of the Confederate flag. But I'm going to ask you this. Is the Confederate flag racist?
Well, the Confederate flag was apparently, I mean, I'm not an expert on this shit at all. I mean, I'm from Seattle area, and my family came here after the Civil War was long over. So, my thoughts on my fairly limited exploration of the issue are that flag was used by part of the Southern Army, some group of the Southern Army.
KKK.
No, it wasn't the KKK. It was part of the Southern Army.
Oh, I thought it was the KKK that started using it.
I'm talking historically, like where it came from, where the flag came from.
Originally came from?
Way back.
Oh.
Like where it originally came from.
Okay. Yeah.
So, of course, symbols don't stay what they were, right?
Yeah, like the swastika.
And what?
Like the swastika. The swastika used to mean unity.
Well, the swastika, used to be a Hindu thing and then become a Nazi thing.
Yeah.
So if I was, for example, to put up a swastika, it would probably not mean to people that I was referencing some kind of Indian Hindu thing. It would probably mean I was referencing a Nazi thing, right?
Yeah.
And so that symbols change is the point.
Yeah.
Anyway, originally the flag was this group in the Confederate Army, supposedly. And of course, that was the biggest war in all of American history was the Civil War. That was the highest death count. It far outweighs any other war that there was, and all the other wars combined. Probably check the stats on that on Google. Anyway, the point is that we're not then, we're now. And so right now what happens is the Confederate flag to a lot of people is a symbol of racism. And that's because it's been used by racist fucking assholes. And so then becomes a question of free speech issues and what it triggers people into and so forth. I forgot the question. What was the question?
Is the Confederate flag racist?
Is it racist?
Yeah.
It often is used in a racist way, yes. It very commonly is used in a racist way.
But technically the flag itself is not racist. It's just how people use it.
Exactly. It's just, and I think your example was perfect. The swastika is not inherently racist, but the way it's been used is racist.
Yeah.
And so it's a question of how we use things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like Germany had, for what I know, 3 flags: the swastika, the 2 Germanys, East and West, the East Germany, and then Germany, and that's it. Those are the only 3 flags I know for right now of Germany. There's more I know, but those are the ones that I know for now. And when teachers catch me drawing the swastika in school, they frown upon it and they tell me to get rid of it, like literally crumple paper and throw it away. I'm like, all right, I know what it means. They just hate it. Like, even my art.
Oh, the Confederate flag?
No, the swastika.
Yeah, of course. Everybody hates a swastika now. The swastika is unrecoverable. I mean, it's like, would you ever name a child that you had Adolf or Hitler? No. No. That guy ruined those fucking names, man. The brand is ruined.
Yeah.
And, here in Mexico, I know, like, a kid. He's like, I think he's 9 now. He's named Adolf. Nobody thinks Adolf Hitler.
Oh, I didn't mean to laugh over that, but that's kind of funny.
It is funny.
Like, even though I shouldn't laugh over that, but you hear the dumbest names like Hope, Faith. I think Hope and Faith. I think those were back in the 80s, I think.
Maybe. I kissed a girl named Hope. She was cute.
All right. Keep going. I like where this is going. I like where it's going. No. Two of my friends, they have their profile picture of them kissing their girlfriend. I was like, dude. I want to be in that boat, but, I don't like I like people that are out of my state or out of the country. That's what I like doing. Long distance. I can do long distance. I can deal with it. But then eventually it's going to impact me pretty hard that I'm like, Mom, I'm moving to this country to meet this person. I'm probably just going to go to school there. But no, it hasn't came down to that. Have you ever talked to a bisexual person or dated a bisexual person?
I have talked to bisexual people, and I have fucked bisexual people, And I think it's a good thing to be bisexual.
Yeah, to me, I don't like it, but it's your choice. Like, it's here. I'm going back to religion. It's your choice to be a Christian. It's your choice to worship Satan. It's your choice to worship whoever. I'm not telling you who to worship. Like, I'm not telling you how to run your life right now. It's your choice. I don't want to say the wrong thing. No, I better yet, I'm not going to say that, what I was going to say.
It's okay. I mean, what you're doing, as far as I can tell, if I may be presumptuous, is you're trying to figure out, like, what's right, wrong, what feels okay, you know?
Yeah.
For me, you know, if, like, two women are kissing or fucking, I think that's actually kind of hot in many cases if I think they're cute in the first place.
Yeah, that's good. But then when you see two guys screwing each other, it's like, no, just no. But now if you were in a girl's mind, then yes, they would enjoy it. It's the complete opposite. Or some women like watching other women screw each other.
Sure. As far as I can tell, there's a fairly high level of diversity in what people like sexually. And I have a lot of experience in this, man. I am experienced, you might say. And so I'm pretty okay with pretty much anybody doing whatever they want to do as long as it's consensual, you know, like everybody's not being forced to do it.
Yeah.
And you know, some women like to do each other. I think that's great. Occasionally I have been honored with being involved, which has been also very nice.
Threesome?
Yes. And I've also done threesomes with two guys and a woman. And that also has been, you know, kind of nice because you're fulfilling a woman's fantasy. I'm not very gay. I'm not that into guys, but I'm okay with it. It's fun, you know. If we can make a woman extremely happy and make her as happy as you would be if there was two women with you, that's cool. It's fun. And I'm also fine with, you know, two guys doing each other. I don't care. You know, it doesn't hurt me. I'm not personally into it, but that's fine. In fact, I have noticed if you look at studies and things, the guys who are the most homophobic, like they really are bothered by two guys doing each other, may have some kind of pent up issues themselves about their own sexuality and that they're kind of gay, actually. It's true. You look at the studies, and the guys who are the most anti-gay are the guys you'll find at some, you know, rest stop doing some guys in the bathroom, you know, especially if they're like evangelical Christian pastors or something.
Have you seen that before?
It's fucked up, man. And so my general thought is we should all just like relax, not worry so much about who's doing who, but make sure everybody's kind of safe, consensual, and is getting pleasured in some way by somebody they like at some point. And I think there's a lot of fun to be had there. And we don't have to really be that disturbed by it. Now, if you're very young, and I was also young, and I grew up very conservative, and I was raised to think that a lot of things are bad. But as you meet people who have alternative sexual experiences, then you'll find that they're just people like everybody else. And they're not better, they're not worse, they're just as dumb as everybody else. But they want to get off, and they want intimacy, and they want relationships, and so even though it's confusing if you're young and not exposed to that, you find these people are the same as everybody else. Like coming from where you're coming from, you may not know a lot of gay guys, is my guess, right?
I know some, but not a whole lot.
Okay, so you know some. That's cool. The gay guys I knew when I was young, unfortunately, were hiding it. They had to hide it because I grew up in a very conservative area. And now that we grew up, they're open about it. But I feel a little bad that they had to hide it. Like it kind of sucked for them, you know? And so I'm kind of happy if, like, the gay guys, I hope that they can just, like, do what they want to do, and they don't have to involve you if you don't feel like being involved. But they can just do what they want to do, and you can then go get laid with some chicks and or whatever you want to do, and everybody can develop their sexuality and hopefully be safe about it and wear condoms as necessary, etc.
Yeah. Is this going to get edited?
I don't know if I'm going to edit this out or not, to be honest. I think that's actually good shit. Because the thing is that this whole uptight sexuality shit is bogus, right?
Yeah.
And even if you look at, like, if we want to look at like the stuff we were talking about internationally and all this stuff about Islam and these religions are some of the most uptight, fucked up institutions there are. And I'm not gonna pick on, well, I'm tempted to pick on religions and stuff. I mean, like, Islam has some serious homophobic bullshit. And they're also seriously anti-woman in some fundamental ways. And I'm not talking about all Islam, maybe there's some fairly liberal forms of Islam that are not that bad, but Jesus, motherfucking Christ, which is funny. I mean, we got to get over that religious oppression of women bullshit. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where that comes from, but it's not good.
What's the point of the women wearing a black thing over their foot like that?
Can you repeat that?
The one black thing that they wear that's like here to here, that you can only see their eyes.
Oh, the wearing of the stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know the whole history on that. Me being a Western dude, I'm not a huge fan. And if you talk to Islamic women, they may have a different view. I don't know. I don't have a good answer on that one, man. But in general, prefer women, in my experience, at least women I like, to be as naked as possible most of the time. So, I'm not really a fan of, I don't think God told them to cover up or anything. I think God made us with skin. We probably evolved mostly naked. And I don't think our bodies are obscene. I don't think women's bodies are obscene. I don't think men's bodies are obscene. So.
No, like, there are some people that literally walk downtown in public area, like in a park or something, naked, basically. And just walk with no regret, but then cops go after them, say, indecent exposure or public nudity or something like that. And I'm like, you have the same parts, pull it on your pants and look. Oh, I do. All right, you can go. I don't care.
Yeah. Where I come from, there's a really fun event called the Fremont Solstice Parade, which is pretty awesome. And there's a naked bicyclists. They're pretty fun. And that's legal. In New York, you can be topless as a woman and it's okay. I think topless women are fine. I think it's really funny in places where there's any issue about that, where women will print out a little male nipple and then paste it on their nipples as a form of amusing protest. Because it's like, what the fuck is the difference? Isn't that funny? It's hilarious.
It is.
I think that's the best protest I know of. Or you're going to print out a guy's nipples and stick it on your female nipples, and now that's not obscene. I don't know of anything funnier for protests. I'm not that big a fan of protests, but
it's funny.
What else? I've been to a festival called, have you heard of that?
Of what?
Burning Man is a festival. Have you heard of it?
No.
Well, you can look it up. Look up Burning Man. Your mind might be blown. Look it up later, but you can write it down or something. Burning Man. You got, about 70,000 people walking around there, and a fairly high percentage of them are naked. And guess what?
What?
Nothing terrible happens, at least not as a result of anyone being naked. There's still, it's an ecological waste, and I have many criticisms of Burning Man, but not because of nudity.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, if you're in an environment where a bunch of people are walking around naked, very quickly it becomes normal. It's no one gets injured or killed because of the scary naked titties, dicks, and pussies.
Saggy titty.
Yeah, I mean it, and you still do look at the bodies. I mean, because the bodies are exposed, and that's not normal in our society, right? And so you're still checking things out, and everybody else is doing it. And but it's the way we are naturally. It's okay. And in a sense, nudity itself is not sexual. Of course, to us, it is.
Yeah.
Because of the way we're raised, and that's fine. But we don't have to make that a crime. You know, we don't have to make our bodies a crime. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not huge on that. Nudity is not my biggest thing in the world. I'm not a huge activist or anything, but I think it's important that we not make things crimes that aren't crimes.
Yeah. So I could literally just walk right up to you with nothing on, and you wouldn't really give a crap.
I would look at you, I'd look at your dick, and I'd say, "Hi, dude. How are you?" I mean, seriously. And once you're in an environment like that, at first it's weird, but then it becomes very normal.
Yeah, like when people videotape themselves fucking each other, you know, it's like, well, you must have been scared shitless to do that, because thousands, even millions of people are gonna watch that over and over again, and they get paid for it, or sometimes they just do it just for their own pleasure, basically. I'm like, I don't care if they do it for pleasure. I don't care if they get paid for it. I don't care. It's sometimes it's amusing to watch, but sometimes I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to sleep. Bye.
Yeah. Well, as you because you're old.
15.
15. So as you age, you're going to get exposed to more and more exposed. You're gonna meet more and more people that have very different perspectives and experiences than you do, and so you're going to have a choice, and to either reject them and hate them, or to accept them. And of course, you'll have a mix based on whether they're assholes or not, probably. But you know, the cool thing is that you're growing up in a world that's more open than the one I grew up in. I was lucky enough to grow up in a world where the internet was happening, and I was as soon as I escaped my very oppressive, culturally limited environment, I was able to read online about people with different views, different kinds of experiences, and that helped me a lot to think, oh, these people are like me, even though they're different in some ways. So you, in the same way, are going to enter the world. When you enter the Marines or in high school or wherever you're at, you're going to meet people who are different, and you're going to be able to say, you know, am I going to reject that and hate them, or am I going to think, oh, this person is okay? And you're going to do that for different reasons, you know.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's one guy, he made a firecracker out of matches and paper. Like, he rolled the paper up, and then he put the match heads in there, and then he had a fuse hanging out like that, and it made it crack. I was like, I'm curious how that worked, but at the same time, it's compressed, and the paper, once you rip it, it makes a loud sound. I don't know how it all works, but...
Well, if you're going to blow shit up, just make sure you get on video.
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, go put tannerite, like 600 pounds of tannerite out in the field, feed around it, make sure all feral hogs go to it, shoot it, kaboom, they all die.
Yeah.
Have you seen that before? Like, these guys literally shoot hogs, not hogs. They shoot tannerite where hogs are, like around it, and kill them.
That sounds like a very inefficient way of killing pigs.
Oh, it is, but it's amusing to watch because So one is where they shot it and the hog parks go everywhere, or this one they shot it, this wild boar went up and hit a tree. I was like, oh, that's so mean but funny to watch. Because
Yeah,
you have
I'm not real impressed.
no, it's not impressing, but it's funny to watch. Because for one, we don't need hogs. Hogs were never meant to be in the U.S. or anywhere. But no, people just let their hogs go, and they just get big like a cow, like a steer. They get as big.
Why don't you just kill them? Why don't you kill them and eat them?
They're no good. They're too. The meat is too tight. Like I had pig, but I never had a feral hog.
Geez, you could probably make a business out of killing them and eating them, because I bet that meat can be good. Recently, we killed a rooster here, and the rooster, has tougher meat. It was an old rooster, very tough, mean rooster, and a visitor killed it.
Oh yeah,
and
one girl.
Yeah, it was that one girl. I think I showed you the video.
Yeah, I was watching it, and it's like,
yeah,
she didn't want to reach her hand inside and grab the guts out, so I think you did it.
Yeah. So the thing is that meat, we ended up pressure cooking, and it ended up being really tender and quite tasty. So it could be that if these particular hogs nobody wants, it could be you could kill them as a business. You could say, hey, I'll kill that, or just kill it, or whatever. Yeah. And then you could actually process the meat in a way that makes it really tasty, because that's a lot of meat on a hog, right?
Yeah, like there are some that are as big as a cow, like a fully grown cow. They're huge.
Yeah, like 400 pounds of meat or something, or I don't know what.
It's not more, like thousands of pounds of meat. It's like unreal how big they can get.
Yeah, because just blowing up animals for no point, I mean, I guess it's funny in some sense.
Yeah.
But there's probably something more efficient to be done there.
Yeah, like in Texas, you can shoot a hog. You see a hog, you can aim your gun out the window and shoot it and just drive off. Like this guy, he ran over a hog once with a car.
Yeah, that doesn't seem efficient.
No, inefficient way to kill it, but at the same time, in my mind, it's amusing. In your mind, you're like, why are you saying that this is amusing? It's a thing dying for no apparent reason, but even though they shouldn't be here.
Yeah. See, well, I'm more of a hippie than you are. And I don't even know if humans should be here half the time, to be honest.
Yeah, like the land that you're on, not the land you're on, but the land that I'm on, it should be the natives' land. We took the land from them. The natives should still be here. There should not be no cars, none of this stuff. It should all be ghetto. Arrowheads, spears, atlatls, all that. Teepees should all still be here.
Yeah, it's a tough topic.
Yeah, well,
who owns what land? And
I'll probably discuss that with you some other time. Like, I want to, even though it's 9, but it's where you are. It doesn't get. It. I don't want to say this. When I saw you on that one time, and when I was trying to go in, you told me no or something like that. And I looked outside; it was dark. I looked over on your screen. It's daylight. I was like, "How does that work? How does that work?" But no, you're like all the way. You're by California and all that. Like not close to it, but you're on that part where it gets dark where I am, and then it slowly creeps up to you.
I gotta go pee. I'll be right back.
Or I could just leave.
Hey, Leah, are you spying on me? I'm happy you're spying on me. I think I have a stalker. It's wonderful. And yeah. I think she's very nice, actually. So I'll be back, Leah and Zachary.
Yeah. Leah. Yeah, right. Yeah, we all know you were. We all know you were stalking him. We all know. Just fess up. Just say it now. Just get it off your chest. No, you're stalking him. We know. We all know. Just don't be alarmed. We know that you're stalking him. Only a little. He's very interesting. Yeah, I know he's very interesting. It's like you can start a topic with him, and he basically goes on with it.
Should we go visit Javier, that knife maker we met?
Oh yeah, let's go. Wow, this new shop is fantastic. It looks like you've got a lot of work.
I have so much work. It's my dream come true. Live out of this, and I am all the time making new things and discovering. There is so much to explore. Talking about steel, about swords, sword blades, styles. Look at this. This is tough. This is the way a sword should be. Beautiful. Yeah, this is not tempered, but it's ready to be tempered in these days. This is a Viking sword. This is more a broadsword, evolving from the Viking. Okay, to be true, this was a sword for a singer of heavy metal. So he's gonna use it as a symbol in the concerts and so on. But I messed up. So I cut it, and I'm gonna make a fighting sword without an edge for HMB fights. That's historical medieval fights. I am the official blacksmith of the Mexican Association and sponsor of the Mexican team. So I make a lot of things. I am in the first line. I'm so proud.
That guy was interesting. I didn't watch the whole thing, but how he was talking, it's like, saw the sword, it's like, holy shit, that thing is huge.
The sword, yeah. No, he's a cool sword maker. He's an odd guy, but
I can tell by his voice he's quite odd, but don't judge a book by its cover, basically.
Yeah. Well, he's been working on it for a while, so.
We need those odd people in the world. If we didn't have odd people, society would be like, this sucks, I hate it. Hey, do you know anyone that's odd? No, I don't know anyone.
Well, you'll certainly find some odd guys on Blab. I'm one of them.
Yeah, I know.
So are you. I mean, it's nice. I mean, people come from such different perspectives. It's good.
And you're very easy to talk to, basically. Like you're very easy to talk to. Like even though,
well, thank you.
Like even though some of the things are not in good sentences, you still understand it. And that's what we need more of. Oh, there's the stalker again. She's stalking you. No, we need.
She's not a real stalker. I don't mean that in any bad way. We were joking about it before.
Yeah, I know. Now it's like, I don't know. You've got to ask her. I was saying that if you are stalking him, just fess up. We all know that you're stalking him. I was just going on with it.
Yeah.
No,
I'll take it as a compliment. I think I like to hear other people's perspectives. I mean, for me, reading is what really got me going on understanding that my own little tiny world was not everything, because I grew up very limited. And so the library was really the place that I started understanding all the different ways that people could think around the world. And I started reading autobiographies and nonfiction and just all these different things. I mean, and just like you, you're lucky because now you have the internet. I didn't when I was young. But like if you want to learn how to make knives or do primitive stuff and tan hides and build your own buildings out of mud, mean, goddamn, you have all these resources.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. It's so cool. And pretty soon you'll be making your own, you know, you'll be out there sharing your own building that you made. That's so awesome.
Yeah. When I get my first deer, I'll probably make strips of leather and make snowshoes out of it, where I can walk on top of the snow without going. Because you can buy snowshoes, but that defeats the purpose. It's a man-made thing. I want to use something that nature gave me. Even though all this stuff that we are in, like, this nature made, but God gave us the mind to make this. Like, do you know who God is? Like,
yeah, I know who I am.
I don't want to be. I don't know how to explain. Like, are you a Christian? I should say.
I'll ask you a different question, and then I'll answer your question.
All right.
Have you heard of the Jefferson Bible?
A what?
Have you heard of Thomas Jefferson?
Thomas Jefferson. I'm thinking, is he on a 20? No, not on a 20. He's on paper. He's on one of the bills, isn't he?
Thomas Jefferson is a fairly cool guy, although certainly you can criticize him for some things. He's one of the founding fathers of the United States of America type guy. So your nickel, for example, has his house on it, your nickel coin, I think. I could be wrong. And the reason I bring him up is because he made an edited version of the Bible that was just the words of Christ. So a lot of the Bible has really nefarious, evil shit in it, right? About slavery and killing and horrible shit that you would think is awful if you read it. Most Christians, of course, have never read the Bible because they don't actually care what they believe. They're fake Christians. But we'll get back to them later.
I have the Bible.
Oh, great. I've got lots of copies. I grew up very religious. So Jefferson edited the Bible and made a version of the Bible called the Jefferson Bible. There's a longer name for it, I believe. And it's just what Jesus said.
Oh.
Because if you're a Christian, you actually don't believe everything in the book you're holding. You don't really agree with the fairly evil God that was in favor of rape, slavery, murder, oppression, just all sorts of evil shit that's in there. Have you read the Bible?
I started reading it. I was like, the farthest I got was Genesis 4, like 3:16. That's
okay. That's not very far.
No.
But also a lot of Christians believe that the Old Testament is not relevant because of the new covenant, which was made with God with the New Testament with the arrival of Christ. So that's cool. So basically, they say the Old Testament's irrelevant. But then a lot of Christians pick and choose things in the Old Testament to say that they matter. And so there's a lot of hypocrisy there. And so you've got the Old Testament, New Testament, huge division. Then you've got Christ. Now, Christianity is theoretically about who? Christ. And so if we want to get to real Christianity, maybe we should learn about Christ and what he was about. Now, I may or may not agree with everything Christ said, but a lot of stuff he said is pretty cool. You know, I mean, if you actually just focused on the strange hippie guy of Christ. So as far as, and I'm going to not mention this book again, but as far as the Jefferson Bible goes, he narrowed things down and just made an edited version of what Christ said. And I think that's worth buying and reading. And I wonder if I read that and and I really think about that, then am I a Christian? If I agree with Christ, if I focused on that guy, because I know I don't agree with the Old Testament, and neither do Christians. No one does, except perhaps Hasidic Jews. The only people who actually live like the Old Testament said are really Orthodox Jews. And they do things like not combine two types of different cloth, not wear tassels on their clothing, not eat shellfish, and because if you eat shellfish, then that's bad. So I mean, it's just a whole bunch of laws in the Old Testament that you don't follow, I don't follow, Christians don't follow, and so you have to figure out what the fuck Christianity even is. Then, if you want to get tricky, if you don't mind me going on a little bit longer, a guy named Paul came along, Saul, who became Paul, and he had this big vision and stuff, and his vision said you could eat, pork and other things, because he had to make Christianity, which was being manufactured at the time, more palatable to spread, as it has, to the Romans, etc. So Christianity is a pretty fucked up, weird thing. So you ask me a simple question, am I a Christian? And I guess my answer is, I don't know.
So basically, in this Bible, he made it, I'm just throwing this out there. So he probably made it about that thing. Just with
exactly.
Word. Right?
Yeah. Most of the Bible is things that you completely hate. I guarantee it if you read it.
Hold on.
But you might actually like what Christ says. I'm not sure.
The words that are in red is basically what God said.
Right. There's the red letter versions of the Bible that have what Jesus said. Now, you also have to realize Jesus may not have actually existed historically.
Yeah, like Christians, they have one God, like one God, the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. One God, three things, but one God. Three things.
Yeah, they have 1 to 3 gods, yeah.
But Muslims, they have one God. That's it. No 3 in one, just one.
Right. The Trinity is uniquely Christian. Do you know who Abraham is?
Abraham, is this in referring into this?
Yeah.
Yeah. The people that you mentioned, I know who they are. I don't know their stories that they tell, but I know who they are.
Right. Basically, Jews, Muslims, and Christians all come from the same God. They all come from the same tradition. And so they're really related. And they're also the most violent religions, which is kind of weirdly suspicious. Yeah. But they're all very related. They all come from Abraham. And I almost wonder if Abraham had some kind of bizarre psychological problems that resulted in his offspring being fucked up. But it's interesting to note that the philosophical tradition of the 3 most violent religions in the world come from this one guy, Abraham.
Wow. Now I can see how you and I can just go on and on about one thing, like religion or politics or living outside, basically.
Oh, we're having fun.
Yeah, because eventually then I'm just going to get tired. I'm probably just going to fall asleep right here. And then I don't know if
I'm going to fall asleep pretty soon, too. I'm almost out of beer, so I'll be quitting.
Drinking?
Yeah. What's that?
That's what you're drinking this whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, I don't know what was in there, coffee or what?
It's beer.
All right, yeah. Okay, now that makes more sense. Okay.
But the other religions to check out, and I would recommend checking out other religions because I've studied religions all my life. They're very interesting. Buddhism is fun to study, Hinduism, and there's a variety of branches of Buddhism that are cool to study. There's various forms of paganism, And paganism is really probably, shamanism, paganism, probably the most ancient religions. And I really recommend looking at the most primal shit, that is international. Actually, it's pre-national. It's back to the stars and the earth and the plants.
Yeah, the
mushrooms.
The only religion I will not want to read or even look at is Jehovah's Witness. I don't want even.
Jehovah's Witnesses also are kind of annoying sometimes, which is another thing.
I don't follow them. I don't like them. I just want them done.
Is that because they knock on your door?
Yeah, I literally. Sometimes they knock on my door and I say, "Guess what?" And they're like, they say one word. I'm like, "Oh no!" I just shut the door in front of them. I'm like, I don't want to even deal with them. I went down to recycling one day, got these books, looked at them. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know if they were Jehovah's Witness, but I took them home and I said, Mom, look at what I found. She's like, why do you have Jehovah's Witness books? I was like, yeah, you all right? And she was like, yeah. I was like, oh, shit. Took one book, ripped the page out, kept on doing that, took another book, ripped the page out, cut them up. Then I just started a fire, put gasoline on them, let them burn them right there. I should have got my neighbors that are Jehovah's Witness. I say, hey, look at this. Look at what I'm doing. This is funny, man. Look at this. They'll probably like say, get out of here. You're not living with. Nope, just get out of here. I'm like, you know what? You're Jehovah's Witness. I don't like you. You just put the Bible right here. You just put that on steroids. I'm done.
Well, you gotta hate somebody, right? I actually get the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Seventh-day Adventists a little bit confused. I mean, I've studied religion a lot, but I don't know everything. But I get those guys confused. But one thing they both do is knock on your damn door, which is a little bit impolite,
So funny because you can put something right there to make I don't know, like put a thumbtack. Those one with a point but with a flat bottom, not the ones that have an extra thing. Just put it on the door bell and make them when you ram their finger right into it.
Yeah.
Don't know if that would work, but sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
That's dad, funny. When he left, they would knock on the door. When he was there, they know better not to because I don't know what he would do. I need to go to bed, and I need to get...
Well, dude, you should go to Dreamland. And I will leave you with this thought, that for your own spiritual exploration, Dreamland is a wonderful place to explore. It's free custom movies based on your own life. And I recommend trying to increase your dream recall. And before you go to sleep, you can program yourself to remember your dreams. You can say, I'm going to remember my dreams tonight. And when the first thing you do when you wake up, you can say, what did I dream about? I'm going to replay that in my mind. What happened? What happened? And I don't know if that has any direct use in your life, but for me it does. And you can get better at it. It's like a muscle, you can exercise it. And I don't know if we call it spiritual exactly, but it's a very real world biochemical thing that's happening in your mind as you process your own memories. So it's the most relevant mystical experience that you can have in your life.
That's one thing.
I do it all the time.
That's one thing I don't like because, like, when I was 5 years old, I had this dream of I went to the Boundary Waters, but at the time I didn't know what that place was. But then I went there last year, we got to this one spot, sat on his log, and looked around. I was like, oh shit, everyone was in the exact same spot when I was 5 years old when I envisioned it. And I was like, I'm done. I'm just done. But I told father about it. Well, I shouldn't say father. Well, whatever. But I told him about it, and he's like, oh, cool. I'm like, you don't get it. It scares the shit out of me. Like, I don't know. I had a couple of them. Like, this one girl on you now, she was like, she showed a tattoo that was right here. And I was like, it did it again. And that was like probably when I was 14. And I'd see in the future, like, I know what's going to happen next. I know what's going to happen tomorrow. I just don't know what order. You know, like everyone knows what something's going to happen, but they don't know when. Like I could probably say I'll find a $1 bill on the ground. Like anything can happen. It's like I don't know. But then there are dreams that I don't want to remember. And those ones I remember very well. As for the good ones, I very seldom remember them. I have some sexual ones, but don't we all?
We do. And as you get more experience, you might have more, and they might be even funner. So,
I'm
yeah.
gonna throw this out there. Have you ever had a dream and you just woke up, your whole bed is just pitch wet? Like you pissed yourself.
One sec. What was that?
Have you ever got up, like you woke up and then your bed is all wet, and like you were?
Yeah, these are called night sweats, I think. If you look up night sweats on Google, and I don't know a ton about those. It's a, your body's weird thing and it does weird things.
Yeah. Uncle.
Yeah, it's happened.
My uncle told me about morning wood. At first, I was like, I didn't know what that was. And he's like, you get a boner when you get up. I'm like, oh, I have quite a few of those. I don't know why. Did you know your mind has 7 to 8 dreams per night, and your mind picks one of those dreams that interests you, and you dream about that. Sometimes you don't dream at all, but that is a lie. You are always dreaming, but you just don't think you are.
Well, yeah, you forget most of your dreams.
Yeah, like
yeah.
Remember one. I was driving through a rural cornfield, just driving. I was like, wow, look at the corn. And someone in the front seat, in the passenger seat, says, wow, look at the corn. I look over, it was my father. And I was like, I slammed back in my seat. I was like, holy shit. I woke up and I was scared because that was the first dream that I ever had of my father. He passed away in 2009. So that was my first dream that I ever had of him. And it scared me. Like, it was a good dream, but it just caught me off guard. Like, have you lost your father or anyone that you loved a lot, I should say?
Yeah, my dad died.
Yeah. So when you had your first dream with him, did you immediately wake up? Like, did you get scared or were you perfectly calm?
Well, I'm older than you. And so the kind of things that scare me are different.
Oh.
So no, I wasn't scared. But it did strike me as important and interesting. Right. So it was something for me, yeah.
When you want to, you can tell me. Like, I don't want you to tell me today because I want to go to sleep. But
me too.
Yeah. I can tell.
Hey, dude, Zachary, let's quit for now. But man, it's been nice chatting with you.
Yeah,
you're a very sincere, cool guy.
Yeah.
So thank you a lot.
Yeah.
Night night.